Welcome one, welcome all to DeFi Crypto and Airdrops. I am Mike, aka Veteran Crypto, and unfortunately, I wanted to come, go live anyway, but David's not able to make it, and he's the one that was going to be teaching this advanced strategy. So I'm going to kind of lift and shift my fire a little bit and just kind of go over some of the stuff that's going on today. Unfortunately, he had a little snafu with an Airbnb that he was hoping to get, and so I won't get into his personal details. But with that, let's go ahead and kind of jump into the markets and kind of some stuff that's going on that I haven't heard anybody else talking about today. So I thought maybe I'd sprinkle some of that in there. This might be a short episode, but appreciate you all showing up. And again, I apologize for not being able to put out the information that we put in the thumbnail. But I promise that we will circle back and do this again. So, with that being said, if you're paying attention to the markets at all, the the markets are definitely down yet again. So, I think that pretty much everybody is beaten and bloody and probably sick of watching markets just for the most part pump and dump just constantly over and over and over. It just feels like this rinse and repeat, getting beat from one side of the ring to the next and not ever making any progress. So it makes me really grateful that I got into DeFi because honestly, I think I might have capitulated by now if I was just hodling or just hanging out in the markets, hoping that my assets were going to go up in price. Um, Gratefully, I earn. I earn due to my due to my liquidity pools and other stuff that I'm in. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at mentally, and kind of where a lot of us are at in our Discord. So actually, let me put that up real quick. Hold on, real quick. Let's. So our Discord, in the description of our channel and on this episode, is a link to our Discord where you can find a great community of people. If you're looking for a support group, you're just looking for a group of people that are kind of going through, the same, rough seas that you are in, the crypto markets and investing, DeFi, trading, whatever it is. We have a great group of people in our Discord. And, if you have questions, concerns, just trying to learn, we do a great job. We have a lot of great moderators in there that help to keep it clean, keep it free of scammers and things like that. In fact, one of the things I'm going to go over here in a minute is a rug pull that a lot of people didn't see coming, and so we'll be going over that here in a minute. But also, let's see here. If you want to, oh, hold on, let me shift over to our main channel. If you want to join the chat and with Jay and Wispy and Alexandria G and the others, go ahead and come on over to at DeFi Crypto Airdrops on YouTube and just join the conversation. We'd love to have people in the chat, asking us questions. Yeah, definitely talking about that, Wispy. But actually, hold on. Why is it still? Yeah. All right. Why is it still showing that one? There we go. DeFi, crypto, and airdrop. So yeah, come on over here. Make sure you check out Discover Crypto, one of our brother channels, Blockchain Report. If you're looking for airdrop alpha, that's my co-host Jeff and Drew over at Blockchain Basement. Really good content. Kind of macro news and politics. Things like that. Kind of based. Oh yeah, Ellie. Glad to see you. Glad to see you here, Ellie. We've been wondering if you were okay. So good to see that you're back. Um, yeah, I had a feeling, Wispy. I had a feeling, but yeah, let's go ahead and get into that. So let's go ahead and jump on over to this. So those of you that have been in crypto for a minute, you saw that this was. Let's look at all. So it was actually looked to be a decent meme coin project. Those of you that don't know what we're talking about, this is Coin's chick, the meme coin that she launched, and been around for like a year or more now. And you can see, I mean, it's had its ups and downs, but trending sideways. Super active on social media. Um, always, engaging with community and, always, talking about integrity. And it just goes to show you, it's, at first there was a while where, she was even trying to get me to, shill her project. And it's just something I don't do, not just for her, but not for anybody. I just kind of feel it's my responsibility to be really careful about what projects I support because of this. It looked to be a strong project. She seemed to have doxed herself. Fundamentally, for a meme coin, it's everything that you want to see. Isaac and Drew over at Blockchain Basement, they even ran into her at Bitcoin Nashville last year, and so I mean, she was fully out there. Fully doxed herself, and yet it appears so far that she straight up dumped, rug pulled on her community. All of her social media, her X account, all the different social media accounts she had have been erased. And she looks like ran off with all the money. So yeah, not quite sure what to make of all this, but this is why I am always telling people, and not that I'm the foremost expert in crypto, but there are some very easy bullets you can dodge. Meme coins being one of those. And anybody out there, trying to shill you on the idea of meme coins and telling you about the millions of dollars they made are probably one of the people that are rugging people. They're the ones that are starting meme coins. They get a hold of the contract address before it goes live, and so they can get in very early. It's usually close friends or people that they do these scams with, and they buy before everybody jumps in and pumps it. They spend money that they made on past rug pulls or whatever to put advertisements out there and pay people to shill their project to get liquidity to pump into it. And then as that liquidity pumps in, they're extracting that liquidity out. They're cashing out while everyone else is cashing in. And that's just how these projects work. I don't even want to call it a project. That's how these scams work. And for years now, I've been trying to tell people, especially if you're new to crypto, if you do not know how to get into these projects early, and even then, I would suggest not getting into them. Because for me, is I don't want to make somebody else not a victim, but I don't want to take advantage of other people. I don't want to, be the one that is, the first one sitting down when the music stops, in this musical chairs game. So for every person that makes millions of dollars on one of these meme coins, there's thousands, if not tens of thousands of people that lost everything. That's just basically how it works. Is, those people are predators. They take advantage of people's greed, and we're all adults. I mean, we're all responsible for our own actions. But this is a bullet that you don't need to get in front of. Crypto, you're early enough in crypto. There is money to be made. You don't need to try to make it overnight. It's in DeFi, in our community. Yeah, we're not getting rich overnight. But me, myself, I mean, I've double, tripled, quadrupled the money that I started with just from being disciplined, just, investing in liquidity pools, lending, staking, just very simple strategies, nothing fancy. Getting into projects early. Putting $800 in. I've put $800 into a couple of different projects, and churn that $800 through price appreciation, and earning yield. I've 10x'd those projects. So that you need to put in the time. Do not try to chase, these meme coins thinking that you're going to get rich. You are most likely statistically going to be somebody else's exit liquidity. So anyway, I'll stop. I'll get off my soapbox on that. So this is one of the things I like to do on this channel is I like to get in on and test these platforms for the community. A lot of people out there don't have the money to test these things out, and so I put myself in front of the bullet for you. So not a lot of money, but I put $250 onto Packaswap. I had I have some DAG, and I got the airdrop, the swap token for farming Paca for months and months and months and months. So I locked 1,000 of my swap, and I put $250, 125 of each, swap and DAG, to see how well this platform works. It has been 1 day so far. It just launched on the 27th, so 2 days ago. I've had liquidity on here for 1 day. So far, I don't know how often that Packaswap updates, but my LP rewards, my liquidity pool that I have the $250 in, it's still not showing that I've earned anything. My governance rewards, which is my lock, I am not seeing where I have earned any rewards there either. So, as of right now, even though I own DAG, I have swap, I want this to be successful, integrity, I would not suggest that you deposit any liquidity on here yet. You can see right here, I deposited 250. I'm down to 228.91, but I'm not showing any rewards. So basically, I'm just losing money because of the price dropping on these assets and all of crypto right now. So my advice right now is I would not deposit liquidity on Packaswap quite yet. I know a lot of the people that watch this channel are very bullish on DAG, Constellation Network, and Packaswap. And I'm sorry, but again, I have to be honest. 24 hours I've had liquidity on here, and I am not seeing any rewards. So until I start seeing some rewards, I am going to advise not depositing liquidity on Packaswap. Do with that as you will. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at my VFAT positions. So, still out of range on my wrap ETH KTA. So, this one is it went ETH, it outperformed KTA. So because of that, I am all in on KTA. So basically, I'm just hodling. One of the things that we're always teaching here is make sure that whatever assets are in the liquidity pools that you enter, that you are bullish on those, that you are willing to long-term hold those. Reason being, for a couple of weeks now, I've basically just been hodling these assets, and I'm okay with that. This is actually more KETA than I started with, because as the price went down, of this pool, then it was selling off my ETH and DCAing me out of ETH into KETA or KTA. I very much think KETA is going to do great things. We've done a couple of deep dives on this. Feel free to check those out. But I'm just sitting back waiting. I mean, if everything in the market was pumping and KTA wasn't, I might look at changing my thesis. But as of right now, it's one of the projects I'm most bullish on. So I'm just going to sit here and hold it. USDC Black. This one has been going down, much like Aerodrome did. Those of you that have been with us for a while, we were buying Aerodrome and earning with Aerodrome all the way up to $2.20. It took a dump down into the 30-cent range. And myself and some of the others, we kept on earning with it. We kept on, DCAing in as the price was going down. Now the price has been on its way back up. It has not gotten back up to $2.20, but it is on its way back up, or has been. Where it goes from here, I'm not going to pretend to know. But very bullish on it because of the fundamentals. What Coinbase is doing with it, what they're doing with the Coinbase app, integrations with real world asset tokenization on the Aerodrome platform. There is a lot of things going on. Base chain in and of itself, very bullish on. KTA is another base play. Mamo, Moonwell, Morpho, list goes on. Very bullish on base. But Black, not one of my most bullish holds, but it has been consistently earning and is the largest volume DEX on AVAX still. So I started out with I think it was about $600 or $700. I'd have to look, but I've doubled my money, and I'm earning about $12, $13 a day. It's been a couple of days since I farmed this, so I have about $30. But every time I reach about 50 or $100, I just compound it back in. Because, the way the market's been, we haven't seen anything really, do anything measurable. Bitcoin's done pretty well. ETH has made a comeback. It hasn't done anything special. It went from, around $4,500 down to 1,600, and now it's, back up again. But it hasn't, done anything, that would make me think that ETH is done doing its run. Blue chips, large cap tokens. We did see the ISO coins. That's when I sold all those when they did their pump. XTC, XRP, Quant didn't do too much in that run. But HBAR, all of those, they all ran and did rather well. I cashed out after about a 3 or 4x, I think is, when I cashed out, which I'm more than happy with, because that was more than I was expecting to get on those, to be honest. But I have since been in DeFi. And on some of the investments that I've done, leveraging both DeFi and price appreciation, again, I've 10x'd, some of my positions. So, it's just as my knowledge of crypto, DeFi trading, things like that, evolves, my investment thesis evolves with it. So, anyway, yeah. Wrapped ETH Arrow. Oddly enough, this thing has stayed in range with the pumps, the dumps, everything. I believe I am down. Let me take a look at my original entry. And this is something I highly suggest everyone does. And I'm always harping on it, is this. So, tracking your investments. We offer this free in our Discord. It's just an Excel spreadsheet that I got from Crypto Labs Research. And I have gone through and redone a bunch of it. And made additions, automated a bunch of it. But what I have done is I have been tracking all of my, anytime I get into a position, I put, basically what platform it's on, what the asset or pair is, the position, if it's staking, lending, it's a lock, whatever it is, my initial investment, what its current value is, and then what APR I'm earning. So, this part you have to do manually, but based off that, it will tell you what you're making daily, monthly, yearly, and whatnot. And then at the bottom, it will add it all up. to where it's like, hey, this is how much you're making per day. This is how much you're making per month. This is how much you're making per year. So I've, for the most part, because I've been expecting, it hasn't happened obviously, but I've been expecting that alts are going to start moving in a major way, here in the next month or two. I thought that a month or two ago, but you know, I don't have a crystal ball. I never, pretend that, I'm not a chart guy. I don't pretend to know, what the different assets are going to, get to this cycle or anything like that. That's not my thing. My thing is this is a vlog of me learning and showing other people DeFi. It's I have people like David that unfortunately wasn't able to be on that is much more intelligent on DeFi. He understands it at a granular level, and that is what I'm doing for the community is bringing those people here to teach us. But for me, I am showing the mistakes that people that are new to DeFi make. I'm also dumbing things down because not all of us are savants. Not all of us are on the spectrum to where we understand, the complexities of these advanced strategies and how these, protocols work. So I'm kind of like the translator. As I'm learning, I try to make things as simple as possible so that it's easier to learn because all the other, influencers, DeFi influencers, most of them have already made millions of dollars or do very well for themselves. And they are at such a high level that it's hard to make that leap from I'm interested in DeFi to, I'm made a bunch of money or making a bunch of money and I know what I'm doing. I understand what impermanent loss is and divergence loss. I understand all of these, phrases, and all of the, these ways to earn. And I'm still learning. So, one of the things that you're going to need to do to understand if you're being profitable or not is tracking. You need to track. One thing I'm thinking about starting to do, or add to this sheet is track the amount of tokens that I invested in these positions. Because using VFAT, a lot of times I'll just enter a single asset and then it automatically will sell off some of it so to enter me into a position. So I'm thinking about adding that to here so that I can get a better understanding on if I'm being profitable or not. Another thing that you can do is Metrics Finance. There's a link for a discount code in this episode description and on our channel. And on there, you can copy and paste. You don't need to connect your wallet. You can copy and paste your address into there, and it will actually show you your past, like even DeFi positions that you've closed out and some of your current ones. It doesn't show all chains and all protocols, but like Uniswap, Aerodrome, the major ones it does. You can actually look and see if you have been profitable or not. Your profit and loss, your P&L, things like that. So that is a I go on. So Wispy says, "Wow, who would have guessed she'd ever do that?" To be honest, I'm surprised. I mean, I chose not to promote her token, but she seemed very genuine. I mean, from the looks of it, though, with all the pole dancing she did on her social media, maybe she's a stripper and she's just good at, at working dudes because she did a great job. She had a whole army of dudes that were out there simping for her on social media, hyping up that project. But yeah, that's bad. Let's see. All right, Ellie. Good. I'm good. It's good to have you back, Ellie. It's I know the community missed you. It's for more reasons than just the fact that you're the one of the only girls in the group. But yeah, you definitely brought the banter. So welcome back. Ellie wouldn't rug us. I don't know, man. It's she's still. I not saying she would or wouldn't, but it's even if I launched a coin, you never know. I could rug. It's just the best thing to do is honestly, in my opinion, this is just my personal opinion. Stay away from memes. Just unless it's a very small amount of your liquidity. Just, and you find a way to get in super early. Get in, make a little bit of money and get the hell out. Do not get emotionally invested in the community because any one of those people in that community will dump on you and use you as exit liquidity. They are riding it as long as they possibly can so that they can get out with money. That we're all here to make money. If you want to be a part of a community and laugh and joke with people, join a Discord. Start online gaming. Get in a clan or something like that to where you can laugh and joke with people. If you're just looking for camaraderie, do not use your investing to for that. It's just that's not what investing is for. Oh, I didn't know that, Ellie. She tried to get you to be a part of that, like a partner, huh? Well, I applaud you. I applaud you for not getting into that because that very easy for you to do where you probably could have made some money. Next year's Bitcoin event is going to be awkward. I doubt she'll show up. Yeah, I mean, I very much doubt she's going to show up, Jay. Yeah, no, Jay, I agree. I don't call them victims at all. I mean, they're grown adults, most of them dudes that you know they invested with the little head, not the big head. I'll put it that way. It's like those guys that go to strip clubs and you know spend their whole paycheck because they think that the stripper loves them. I do not feel sorry for him. You are a grown ass man. Yeah, no, it's that, and that's exactly it. People need to just invest in solid projects. That's what we're doing here. Putting in the time. Putting in. Sticking to the grind, staying disciplined. When prices dip, we keep earning, we keep stacking. We keep learning about the projects. If the fundamentals change, we reassess. If it's a project we want to be invested in, there's a couple of projects that I've gotten out of. I liked them at first. VVV, Venice, an AI project. Got into that. I dumped $1,000 into that one, and I think I got out with like 500 or 600 bucks. But probably one of my biggest fails. Percentage wise, not money wise, but probably one of my biggest fails. I would say probably Wonderland. Time Wonderland was one of the first projects I got involved in when I was trying to learn about DAOs. Back after I got out of Sheeb, because Sheeb was the first that I got into, and Time Wonderland became a shit show. The founder basically bailed on it. Everybody was jockeying to take it over. Yeah, I got out of that quick, but I think I probably lost a couple of grand on that one. But I forget. It's been a minute. But let's see. Oh, Shaney. That's a new name. Oh, can I zoom in? It's not clear. I mean, I can zoom in a little bit, but I'm really not showing this. It's just kind of up on the screen. This is basically just the if you want to see it up close. I mean, download it. Join our Discord. Download it off our Discord, and fill it out with your information. Put your holdings. Go into the bull run tracker, and you can put how many tokens you have and what assets you have. It will automatically update and tell you what it's worth. The same that it does on CoinMarketCap. It will just tell you whatever your total portfolio is worth. You can track your DeFi. You can build out your ladder out strategy on what percentage of your bags that you're going to sell of a certain asset and at what price point. And and basically it will tell you if you hit all your take profit points, how much you'll have at the end of the bull run. So again, this is all things that if you're going to invest, that you're going to need to know to understand your risk profile. So what is your risk tolerance? What's your financial goals? And basically, and then you do this to map out you know now that you understand your risk tolerance and you understand what your financial goal is. Mine, I want to make $500,000 this bull run, so that I had just over $500,000. It's because I'm sure I'm not going to hit all my take profits. I hope that I hit most of them. The way the markets are looking, sometimes I kind of wonder if we're ever going to get this alt season. But yeah, it's like if I get four or 500,000, perfect. That is my goal. So I built out my portfolio, I built out my DeFi strategies, and I built out my take profit, my ladder out strategy to accomplish my financial goal. So I know where I'm at, I know where I'm trying to get, I know how risky of a path I'm willing to get to my objective. And this sheet is basically my map. It's my map and compass to get me from where I'm at to the LZ, so that I can get out of here. So the helicopter's sitting there with $400,000 or $500,000 waiting for me to take me to Valhalla. So that is why you need to be a part of a community. Help keep you disciplined. Help keep you focused. There's no need. I mean, everything we do here is free. The spreadsheet's free, the Discord's free, the channel's free. We have a DeFi Academy on our channel on YouTube, 100% free. We do not charge for anything. From India. Yes, your message is visible. Sorry, I lost you there for a second. So, yes, your message is visible, Shani. How do I learn DeFi proper? I tend to not follow through with this, LPing and the likes of that. Just go to our channel, DeFi Crypto and Airdrops. The DeFi Academy on the channel. Here, I'll show it real quick. So right here, this you come to the channel, scroll down past the live streams, DeFi Academy. Start with episode 1. And just start going through. And basically, this will describe what DeFi is very, very simply. What DeFi is, kind of what some of the terms mean, things like that. And then just work your way through the episodes. Also, in the description. So, this episode that we're in right now. The description. So, this come down to here, more, and scroll in the description, and you can join the Discord. So you have the DCA Discord down here. Click on that and join, and you'll be able to join this community. And this is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that are willing to answer questions and help you out. And we're more than happy to help you, Shawnee. Ellie, I'm not launching a coin. I am all about our plays, no memes. Perfect. Perfect. Exactly. That's why most of us are here, Ellie, just to have fun and earn some money, and the way that we earn money, it doesn't take advantage of anybody. We're earning our fees off of people doing swaps, just very, very small bits of money. Whenever somebody wants to switch from one asset to another, they know exactly what they're paying for. They're paying for a service. It's, no one is a victim. No one's taken advantage of. It's, basically we're the bank. We're acting as the bank. And, and then with lending, people are paying an interest rate, and often a much lower interest rate than if they went to a bank. There's sometimes it's less than 1% that people are paying to borrow our money. So, if anything, we are providing a valuable service in DeFi. And for that, we make a little bit of money. There's no downside. Let's see. Oh, Ben Simmons, what up, brother? We'll never forget. Oh, yeah, the Cheshire cat. Yeah, yeah, the Time Wonderland cat. It it had a lot of potential. But yeah, Time Wonderland, those that might maybe not have been around for a while, there was a token called Time, and good lord. Yeah, that thing, it went through some volatility, but anyway. Does the channel have an opinion on Theta or Live Peer? I've heard of Theta, and I think I've heard of Live Peer, but I do not know enough about either of them to have any comment or any opinion on them. Same here, Wispy. I'm making some off KTA, and Black and Arrow right now are the ones that are earning for me. And then my Arrow locks. I cannot over stress how profitable my Arrow locks have been. I know a lot of people throw shade on them, but I started out with 2,500 bucks in Arrow. It was like 5,100, it was around 50 cents a token at the time. And I put 5,100 tokens into the Arrow locks, got the flight school bonus, been um I have about $16,000 off a $2,500 investment. I have almost $16,000. So, I mean, I not saying run out and do a lock, but if Aerodrome is still around in 4 years, which Coinbase, the Coinbase app, there's multiple projects that are integrating with Aerodrome to offer tokenized real world assets. There is a lot going on with the Aerodrome platform. Personally, I think that it will be here in 4 years. And if it is, if not guaranteeing anything, there's risk involved in investing. But if I'm going to have, if Aerodrome is even $10 a token, another if, but not a far fetched one. It's already seen $2.20. With a $10 arrow, I'll have $750,000 off of a $2,500 investment. That is the power of compounding yield. Every week, those of us in the community, we go in every Wednesday afternoon. We go in and we vote. And for voting, if you have it in the VE Aero Max Relay, it will automatically vote for you. But some of us are doing manual voting, and we vote on Wednesdays right before the epoch ends, because that's when you're more likely to be able to vote and maximize your earnings. So that's what we do as a community. And I'm usually making about $50 on the one that I'm manually voting on, and about $30 on my flight school bonus that I kept in the VE Aero Maxi Relay. So I'm making just shy of $100 a week, just off of my locks. And that $100 a week, I just put back in to those positions. I keep compounding those positions, because the larger those get, the more that I earn. And so that is what creates that curve, that bell curve that you see on compounding interest charts. All right. So let's see what else we got here in the chat. I'm so grateful, Mike. I can't wait to join the community. You're welcome, Shani, and welcome. All right. Well, I think that's all we got in the chats. Let me see if I got anything else to go over. Again, I apologize. That thumbnail, it wasn't meant to be this misleading. David just had a bit of an emergency, and so I just didn't want to not go live. I put out there that we were going to go live, so I wanted to, at least go live and talk a little bit with y'all. But RWA.xyz, let's go over why it is that me personally, I'm not bearish at all. I'm not worried at all. And I'm perfectly fine in all of my positions, because I believe in the assets that I've invested in. I have done my research. I have multiple videos out on all of my holdings, and I'll show you my holdings. Let's see, where are we at here? So here is my portfolio. So Aerodrome, this is one, if you've watched me at all, I am intimately familiar with every aspect, nook and cranny of Aerodrome. There's very little I don't know about Aerodrome. And I don't say that lightly. Again, if you've been watching me for a while, I'm very quick to point out if I'm not a subject matter expert on something. But Aerodrome is one of the things that I'm very knowledgeable on. Ondo, it's one I'm very bullish on. I'm knowledgeable, but not as much as Aerodrome. It's a tokenized real world asset play, and they are definitely have a seat at the table, with tokenizing stocks for the New York Stock Exchange, things like that. Very, very strong play. Plume. This is probably one of the projects I'm most bullish on. Price has done nothing, but those of us that have been using it to DeFi have been stacking. This is one of the first one that I put $800 in and churned it into $8,000. Was this one. So the reason being is it loves to trend sideways. I'll show you. So the all-time chart, you can see, when it launched, it just trended sideways here between 10 cents and 15 cents. We just set our ranges, and we were making like 1,000, 2,000% APR through here. Then it shifted on us. It flipped that 15 cents from resistance to support, and it created about a 20 cent. You can kind of around. It took a dump, and now it's been ranging between about 6, 7 cents to 12 cents. And again, three ranges, only three, there you go, three ranges that it's been in in its whole lifetime. That is a dream in DeFi, being able to stack that. Now, fundamentally, Plume, I won't get into it here. I've done plenty of deep dives on it. But Go look at the Plume portal. Go and check out what they are building out. It is a massive ecosystem of real world asset and DeFi, of different platforms, and that where in massive amounts of liquidity, partnerships, massive partnerships. They are sitting at the table in Washington, D.C., when a lot of this legislation is being drafted. They have a seat at the table. Their stablecoin, PUSD, is backed by USDC 1-to-1. It's why that their stablecoin doesn't have a massive TVL. They just can't just print a bunch of it. They actually are backing it in line with the Stablecoin Act, the U.S. legislation, the Genius Act that was signed into law by Trump. They are making all the right moves, fundamentally strong. Yes, the price hasn't pumped, but I personally am looking for fundamentally strong plays that are positioned properly for long-term investing. We are leaving the speculative market. The days of getting into crypto and just everything pumping off of hype and social media and stuff like that, we are transitioning out of that. Institutional money does not invest in pumps. They do not invest in social media hype, other than to get in, get out. And institutional money isn't doing that, but whales and stuff like that are. They love manipulating retail. But institutional money, legally, they can't get involved in meme coins and things like that. The reason they haven't gotten into crypto is because there was no legislation. The SEC was going after crypto projects with Gary Gensler and Elizabeth Warren under the last administration because they were doing the bidding of banks. The banks are shitting themselves right now. They are building as fast as they can because they understand that people like me and you are pulling our liquidity, our fiat, out of our bank accounts and injecting it into DeFi. Because in DeFi, we can earn, without doing anything, 5 or 10%. I mean, you can put it on Coinbase and earn 5%. It's like a high interest savings account. Now, if you want to start diving deeper and start looking at lending and staking, now you're talking about 10%, 20%, maybe even 30% on stables. There's looping you can do if you want to, if you want to lever up to where you can earn 50% or more on stables. Institutions and banks are shitting themselves right now because they see that once people catch on to DeFi and where we can be the bank for each other, there's no need for them. Why would I go to a bank? Here, I'll show you. Let's just go to Aave. As far as TVL, the largest lending borrowing DeFi platform out there. You can borrow USDC, 5.8% borrow right now, which is less than what you would supply. So the way this works, say I have $100,000 with current rates, I can lend that out and earn almost 7%. Doesn't seem like a lot, but on that $100,000, I can now take a loan out and only pay just under 6%. So there's basically a 1% difference. I am getting paid 1% to take out a loan. I'm earning money, borrowing. I hope that's making sense to people listening out there. This is why we DeFi. I can take my liquidity out of the bank. I can put it in DeFi and I can get paid to borrow money. I can take that money and reinvest it. I can buy real estate. I can pay off my mortgage. I can put it into liquidity pools. I can buy crypto. I can do whatever I want with that money. No credit checks. I don't have to provide tax statements and jump through hoops, and doesn't take weeks. If I have money to deposit as collateral, I can take out a loan in a couple of clicks. Banks are shitting themselves. And this is why. All right, let's go back to the comments real quick. Jay, short-term ranged on Plume might not be a bad idea, dude. Get into a short-term ranged position. Me personally, I'm always about wide ranges that stay in range longer. I can't do the range positions. Yeah, let me make sure I'm not still frozen. All right. I'm not frozen anymore. I appreciate it, Papa Goose. Oh shit. All right. So, the Crypto Crossroads show. What up, brother? I know you saw Crow. I did. Um, to be honest, I'm not that interested in Crow. And not to FUD it. I mean, it's a great it's a great platform. I know that World Liberty Fi just did a deal with them. Very bullish. I'm just I'm in enough projects. I can't branch out into anything else. But massive pump. I mean, let's actually go look at Crow real quick. CRO Kronos. So in the past 24 hours, oh shit, what happened? I thought in the past 24 hours, oh shit, man, the volume took a dump. 65% dump in volume. In one day, it's down 13%. So yeah, no, I mean, shit. What went from 14 cents on the 26th? So what? Tuesday, Wednesday? Um, yeah, I mean, it went from 16 cents and went all the way up to 36, almost 100%. But has since retraced down to 27. Again, I'm not a chart guy, but it looks like if you are interested in Crow, might be an entry level, just because of the pullback, and you can see that potentially this is a level of support. It's been resistance before, and it's been support recently. So maybe wait till it comes back down to 26 cents. But yeah, I know Crow last cycle did huge things last cycle. Yeah, look at this. So I'm wanting to say it was around here that I got into crypto back in 2021. It was like September, October, I think, is when I got into crypto. Maybe a little sooner, like August. But yeah, this is what fucking Crow did last freaking cycle. It went all the way up to 70 cents from 18 cents. So yeah, but yeah, it gave it all back, through the bull market or the bear market. But looks like it might be waking up on that World Liberty Fi news. Papa Goose agreed. The future is utility and RWA. Yeah, DeFi and RWA is my lane. I'm not getting into AI. Not to say that it's not going to do anything. Gaming, metaverse, whatever. It's There's only so much bandwidth that I have, and I'm retired. I do this, other than working out and working on my property, I do this 10, 12 hours a day. I'm sitting here learning about crypto. And I can't even keep up on just DeFi and RWAs. That's why I focus on, Base, Solana, the major, DeFi chains, Ethereum, things like that, is because there's only so many hours in the day. And with the amount of protocols and chains and layer twos and, just the way that this, how quickly this evolves, for me to be able to speak intelligently on this stuff, I can't get diluted. I can't, be a squirrel that sees a shiny object, or, I'll never have anything to talk to you guys about. Storing money in a savings account and watching your dollar devalue is a thing of the past. Absolutely. And the sad thing is that the majority of people out there do not even understand what you're talking about, Papa Guth. They have no clue. Even if they have a bunch of money in savings, they think that they're good. It's not earning anything. And this past year, 11% inflation. It lost. If you had $100,000 in the bank at the last year, to date, potentially you now have $89,000 on your balance. It shows $100,000, but the buying power of that $100,000. So, like, if you wanted to go buy $100,000 car a year ago, you could buy that car. If you went to go buy that same car, chances are you would need to come up with another, $10,000 or $11,000 just to buy that car. So, do your own research, but that is why many of us have gotten into crypto. Is I want to earn over 7% per year on my money, because if I'm not outpacing inflation. Everybody, please hit the like button because the man is speaking the truth. I appreciate you, Crypto Roads. Yeah, everything we do here is free. The only thing I ask is, join the chat. Talking in the chat helps the algorithm to spread the message. Like and share. That's really all I ask. I don't. Again, I'm not charging for anything. I don't do super chats. I don't take any sort of paid anything. I really just want to be a channel that puts out information with integrity. It's that anything that we say on here is from our research and our point of view and our opinion, factual. We don't shill, we don't hype, we don't pump. Even the projects I talk about, I'll tell you the negatives about them. The fact that Aerodrome has an infinite supply, that it's a negative. What they do with those tokens is what gives me confidence. The fact that the majority of the tokens are paid out, into locks is one. That anything that they don't pay out, they max lock. And then the small portion that they pay out, in the Aerodrome pools, people can choose to lock that, sell that, put it into liquidity pools, whatever they want. But, it's that potentially could be a negative. So, yeah, again, please, like and share the stream. We really are trying to grow this to, be a safe haven for people to not get taken advantage of. Please, can you explain the lending more? I was slightly lost with how it works. Shani, I don't want to go too deep into it, but just know that the safest ways, and this is watch episode 8. Actually, this is what I'll steer you towards. On episode 8 of the DeFi Academy, I get into building your DeFi portfolio. And the 3 things I advise that you focus on as you enter into DeFi and start to understand how DeFi works, how to use wallets, how to use protocols, all these different things. You're going to learn about all this, all these terms that I'm using in the DeFi Academy. But I tell people to focus on lending and on staking, because both of those, if the price of your assets go up, you get full price appreciation. The other aspect is that other than the platform going down in some cases, or the usual the usual pitfalls, um there you're always going to be earning. The chance that you're going to lose your liquidity is very low with staking and with lending. So it's a great way to build the what I call the foundation of your portfolio, because you might not be getting rich overnight, but you're always increasing your positions, your token count. The price of those assets, like right now, might go down, so the dollar value goes down, but the amount of tokens that you accumulate is always going to be going up if you're lending and if you're staking, because you're not putting any of your tokens at risk. So that is what I would suggest that you focus on when you first get into DeFi, and then expand your knowledge. Learn more about DeFi, learn about liquidity pools, and learn how they work. After lending and staking, look at full range liquidity pools. This is just my opinion. There's other people that might say different. Reason being is, with a full range pool, you are always in range. So you are always earning. It's an easier way, and I wouldn't suggest putting your whole bag into a range liquidity pool, but a small portion. Just so that you're can amplify your earning, because on some of the full range pools you can earn 40%, 50% or more. On the USDC Black pool that I was showing that I'm in, that one, this USDC Black is a full range pool. I'm earning 323% on that. So, that is contingent on what Black does price wise. I'm earning, 323% in tokens, but the price has been going down. It's stabilized, but it went down substantially. So if it goes back up, I'm going to be in a this is going to be another one of my success stories if it goes back up, because if it goes back up, I'm probably going to have $5,000 or $6,000 in this. And so my, initial $800 investment in Black, or $700 investment, is going to be another, 10x for me. So anyway, that's what I would suggest. Let's see. I hear you. I'm not surprised on that crow retrace, because we were sitting at 7 cents. Let me actually move this over here. My old eyes. The last 3 months pumped to 40. People are taking profits, plus the market is red. Yeah, absolutely. Shani, you can borrow against your assets while they stay in place and grow, so you can gain profits on your crypto and reinvest the loan to grow even more profits. That is correct, Papa Guth. However, Shani, I would not suggest borrowing against your assets until you learn a little bit more. If you're new to DeFi, I would just lend and earn. And it's not super complicated, but there are risks. And I want to make sure that you are aware of those risks before you borrow. So you want to make sure, here, we'll go over here. So if you're going to borrow, you want to make sure, one, that you keep your loan to value down. So say that you're lending out $100,000. If you're going to borrow, even with a stable coin, I would say like maybe 30 to 50%, just to be super safe, is all you'd want to borrow. So at the max, $50,000 on that $100,000. The reason being is, even stable coins do something called depeg. So sometimes in high volatility and in special cases, it will depeg from the dollar. And even USDC has dipped down to 80 cents before, very quickly. But if, say that you had 80% loan to value. You had taken out $80,000 on that $100,000 and it wicked down, below your liquidation point, which is, on $80,000. If they allowed you to take out that much, chances are your liquidation level is higher than that. So it'd probably be at around, maybe 86 cents, 89 cents, something like that. So in that case where USDC depegged and dipped down, below that 86 to 89 cents down to 80 cents, in that case, you would have gotten liquidated. So they would have taken, you would have kept your $80,000, but they would have taken your $100,000. So, basically you would have lost $20,000. So make sure you keep your loan to value low. They usually give you a health meter that lets you know. You can also, if you are lending and then you are borrowing and you are taking that borrow and reinvesting it in other DeFi, and we teach this in the community, where you can earn, 60, 70, 80%. You can take the yield that you earn from those investments, from that money that you borrowed, to pay off the loan. And then once you pay off the loan or pay it down, you can take out a loan for more and rinse and repeat. There's also looping strategies. Again, these are all advanced strategies. I highly suggest that you learn them intimately before you actually put them into action. But there's looping strategies where you can lend, borrow, take that borrow, lend it, borrow against that, lend it, borrow against that, lend it, and it's called looping. And we in the community, we offer a looping calculator that will calculate it. You can put in the amounts and the APRs and all that, and your initial amount, and it will tell you exactly what to do. But again, it's not financial advice. There are risks involved. Make sure that you're aware of that. Does Aerodrome have a DeFi bot similar to Mamo? No, not that I'm aware of. I'm sure that there are AIs that you could build out like on virtuals, or maybe somebody's built one out on virtuals that would do it. To be honest, me not being a super techie minded person, I would not use a fly by night AI to manage my portfolio. Because basically what it is somebody like me or you, some programmer that, made some AI that you'd be using. So potentially, I mean, again, I'm not a tech guy, but in my mind, they could program in to where they're taking small amounts of your money, every time it's, doing something, investing or, moving your money or whatever. Or, potentially it could, liquid or, drain your wallet. I don't know. There's far too many risks in crypto that I'm not going to, expose myself to ones that aren't necessary. Mamo is fine for me. Let's see. All right. So we got through all the questions. Looks like we actually did an hour show. Again, I really do apologize that we weren't able to give the alpha that the advanced strategy, but it actually looks like it worked out. We had a lot of new people in here, Shawnee and some other people that were new to DeFi. So I think that might have been a little too much, a little too much for them. So again, make sure you please like and subscribe. Share this out, join the community. Links in the Discord. Make sure that you support, David over at DeFi University. Again, let's show that one more time. So in the channel description, you have the David's DeFi University. It's $97 a month, but really, really good school. You can do ours for free. It's not as it's not as comprehensive, and it doesn't offer as much as David's school. He does live calls. Again, he can take you from zero to hero. Here, we can take you from zero to competent. And we're bringing people on that will take you to that hero level. But he's a subject matter expert. So if you want to learn for free here, and then you decide that you want to take it to the next level and you're making money in DeFi and you want to invest in yourself and spend that $97 a month, by all means, he's a great guy. Metrics Finance, uh, Jake Call, that's on our Wednesday shows. He had this built out. Great tool to simulate your DeFi positions. So basically, you can look at real data. You can copy and paste the pool address, and you can put in how much money that that you want to invest in that pool, and it will tell you exactly how much you can expect to make per day, per week, per month. All of that. It can look at historical data. Help you pick ranges. It does a lot of things. I'm actually going to have him on to give us a walkthrough here soon. So anyway, with that, let's make sure. Nope. All right. No more questions. All right. Well, I appreciate y'all. And again, appreciate the support that you all show for the channel. And till next time, Veteran Crypto out.